Hello everyone, welcome back to another art time lapse. Today I am doing a Studio Ghibli inspired fan art piece called The Moving Castle. I've always been so fascinated with Howl's Moving Castle. I think it's just such a beautiful and really magical anime movie, and that's why for this piece I really wanted to convey this whimsical, really playful component of the movie while just highlighting some of the main, I think, memorable moments and characters. So of course I'm gonna include Howl's Moving Castle because it's just such a main stage for the piece, except I didn't want it to be doom and gloom kind of color. I wanted it to be very colorful, very magical, like a magical castle, almost like a bouncy castle. Anyways, that's where I kind of dive off from, and I was imagining the Howl's Moving Castle kind of walking through the mountains, and I want mountains to be very colorful as well. I wonder if it's partly influenced by my kids because right now they're much younger and they love color, and I love color too, so I thought, why not? Let's just try to splash on as many colors as I can. So if you are doing this piece along with me, or if you are interested in painting gouache, some of the feedback or tips I find really helpful. Number one is to always paint from the background to the foreground. So you can see I started off with the clouds in the background, and then the mountains, and then now I'm doing the castle. So everything is from back to forward is the direction that I paint, especially if you're using Acryla Gouache that has this opaque, I guess, a component or property to it. Anything you paint on top will cover whatever is in the background, so you always want from to paint from back to front. So here, that does require you do a little bit of planning ahead of time. Doesn't mean that you can't go back, but it's just a lot easier if you follow this tip. So here, just slowing it down to show you how I color in the different components. I find that for a lot of my art time labs, people think that's it's really amazing that the piece comes about so quickly, but really honestly, it does take a while. This piece, partially for the conceptualization of what I wanted to paint, took me a few weeks to kind of ponder on and off, and then when I actually have the idea and I start painting, that process usually takes a couple weeks. And I'm not painting every day, but at least a few hours each week. I think it's nice to take a break from an art piece and not feel like you have to force yourself to finish a piece in one go, because sometimes stepping back and taking a break and looking at the piece again will give you a new reflection or an idea of how to make it even better. So it's really important to schedule some downtime and break time in between your piece. Even if you have a large chunk of time to paint, take a 5-minute coffee break, take a walk outside. It will give you a whole new perspective on the piece that you're painting. So for this piece, one of the things that I changed it around was that I decided to add some yellow and reds to it. I think in the beginning I was leaning towards more night themed colors, lilacs and pastel pink and blues, but then I was I really want this to pop so much more and scream vibrancy and fun. So I thought some vibrant colors the sunshine yellow or the red would look so good. So here you can see I'm just adding in those colors now. Looks kind of like Howl's Moving Castle, but not quite yet. There's still a lot of details that need to go in. And that's another tip I would suggest as a young artist, to be patient with your artwork. It may not look exactly like how you want it to in the beginning, and that's okay. There's always this ugly phase or this ambivalent phase for artwork where you're I'm not sure exactly where it's going, but that's okay. That ambivalent stage is just you trying to figure things out. Nowadays, I'm really trying hard to enjoy the process of painting rather than just the end product or the conceptualization of a piece. But I do feel this adrenaline rush when I paint, especially when I first initiate a piece, because once I think of a concept, it's oh, I need to go and start painting right away and get really excited by the idea. But it's so important, if you've seen some of my previous videos, is to plan ahead and have a clear vision and goal of what message or what idea you're trying to convey in this piece, because that will be your guiding principle and make the rest of the process so much easier. There are so many times where I don't have a clear idea and I just go ahead and paint. Sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't, but I do find that like if I have a clear vision in mind, I can always go back to it and it makes the process so much easier. Slowing it down, showing you how I'm drawing in some of the details. You can see instead of using like a dark black or like extreme like ombre brown, I've decided to use a blue, a cobalt blue, to do the highlights for the piece, and I think it just accentuates the playfulness with the piece, and it's very different from what I normally do. What about you? Have you stepped outside the box lately? Have you tried something different with your artwork just to have fun with it? I think it's something that we don't always think about because we sometimes go to what is familiar and like it's easy for us to paint or draw, but it doesn't mean that we have to deviate like 180 degrees from what we normally like to draw. But just having a small twist to it can bring so much joy and you can learn so much from an art piece. So here you can see I'm adding in white paint to mark where the characters will be that I'll be drawing on the castle. I've mostly finished the castle itself. It's pretty busy though. I'm not sure how I feel about it. But anyways, I decided to add some white because if you add other colors as it is right now, the characters won't stand up as much. So I need to add a bit of white before repainting the characters back on. Here, just showing you some of the details as I'm painting the bow tie on turnip heads, bow tie, and like it was really fun trying to figure out like how or what characters I want to add on and where they would sit on the castle. Here you can see I'm just coloring in the hair, and I'll just let you enjoy the rest of the process for this piece. Here you'll see me adding white highlights and outlines to my piece. I really think the piece pops a little bit more. I'm using a Acryla brand jelly roll for these highlights. This video is not sponsored, but I really enjoy using these gel pens, and I thought I'll share this little secret that I use with my artwork with you. I was debating whether I should add highlights or not, whether it will be too busy, so I'll let you see how it looks like afterwards. I'd love to hear from you if you think it was too much or maybe just enough. So I'm just wrapping up for this piece for this really whimsical house castle, this moving castle. I hope you enjoy this art time lapse and enjoy this whole process because it was so fun, and I'm not sure how I feel about the outcome of the piece. If it's too busy, I would love to hear from you in comments below. Maybe I shouldn't have added highlights or left it as it is halfway through, but this is my final product and I'm pretty happy that I got a chance to try it out. Well, that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining me on this art time lapse, and hopefully I will see you next time. Take care and stay creative, everyone. Bye for now.